Hello, Termites. It's night 71. How's everybody doing out there? There's going to be a little golf on TV. My friend, do you know Greg Gumbel? I'm name dropping. He's a friend of mine. I met him at a show once, and we just stayed friends. He's a very funny guy. And ironically, that's the only sport he doesn't really like. And he's a sports guy. And I'm like, don't tell me there's no sports on, Greg. Golf is on, and South Korean baseball. So there you go. What are we drinking tonight? A little Codigo Rosa. This is one of Lewis Black's favorites. I can't tell the difference between tequilas. I would like to, it's gluten-free. Wait till my sister hears. She'll be so excited. She could drink the whole bottle and not have a stomach incident. So that's what we got going on. Drink-wise, we left Tanya. She's gonna, sounds like she's gonna go on some hard times again, which is usually the most fun, if you've noticed the pattern here. Let me see, I got oh yeah, it would be several years before before Clive hired Tom Dubois and Arista's country division got its machinery oil. So this gonna mean it's gonna be some she's gonna have a little hard time here. I hadn't helped things. In fact, I put David Malloy through a lot of crap, and although it took me a few years to understand it, my going as public I did with my partying through those months did me untold damage in Music Row's executive boardrooms. Well, I would have liked it. Anybody who comes into a place of business establishment on a luggage cart, I'm in. Dean Dillon and Gary Stewart, well, we're on page 186 now, 87 technically. Dean Dillon and Gary Stewart soon learned that having me for a friend isn't always a walk in the park or a roll down the alley, or how about a roll on a luggage cart. In the summer of 1982, after Changes was finished, they came to LA and invited me to go to New York with them for a show Gary was booked to do at a little club on the east side. I was in the process of moving from my house on Lennington to a big 4-bedroom home. The rent was 3 times as what I've been paid on Lennington. I don't even know why I moved because I love that little house. I still Bob Dry to check on it when I'm in Los Angeles, and maybe I just wanted to feel like a big shot. I drive by what was my little tiny house in Los Angeles just to make sure that nobody's ruined it. That 1,100 square feet was a lot of fun. I must not have been too big a shot because I couldn't find anyone in Los Angeles to help me unpack. I'd packed everything up, rented a truck, and loaded a lot of things myself. I hired people to load the refrigerator, the washer, dryer, and the heavy furniture. The men I hired to drive the truck to the new house, but they had to move on to another job, and I didn't have anyone to help unload. So I loved it when Dean and Gary called and asked me to go to New York. I told them if they helped me unload a couple things, then I would. Dean and Gary are not muscle men by any means, but they came to my new house, and after they got the shock of seeing what I'd meant by a couple of things, they unloaded the whole truck. Then we flew to New York. This sounds like trouble brewing. For the show, I got dressed up in a black and red corset top and tights, and we limoed over to the club. Gary, of course, did his usual killer performance. By the time it was over, our adrenaline was raging. We ran into a country music journalist named Patrick Carr at the show and took him back to the hotel with us. We were drinking tequila straight from the bottle. What? I don't drink it straight from the bottle. Ron does. We were doing it straight from the bottle at the show. We didn't even slow down. I was dancing all over the room. They were playing guitars and trying to write something. We all were just wrecked. We roared all night, and by about 9 in the morning, I got the idea I'd go visit the record label that wasn't promoting my record worth a damn. My God. I wish I had this lady's guts sometimes. I am such a Catholic school rule follower. That would never occur to me. And if it did, I'd go, that's a bad idea, Kathleen. And that's probably the best idea. But just to do this every once in a while probably feels really good. Since the 3 guys were all in bad as shape as I was, they didn't try to talk me out of it. It wasn't what you'd call a good career move. We got back in the limo and went to Arista. I want to see Clive, I told the relationship. She was a very New York type, sophisticated and a little uppity. She looked at us like we were from outer space, which of course we were. On the other hand, you'd think that through the years, a rock and roller or two might have shown up there drunk, right? That's how Tanya's thinking. I can't be the first one. Look at who your client roster's got on it. Am I the worst one? She's really funny. And who are you, she inquired. I'm one of your artists, I responded, getting ticked off. I've had that happen. Well, I haven't been drunk at 9 in the morning rolling into it, but I've gone to my own agency and they asked me who I was. But I figured that, they got 20 million clients and there's just some 20-something at the desk. Okay, what's your name? Okay, who's your agent? Okay, could you just have a seat in the lobby? Do you need anything? Yeah, I need a lot of shit. But I bet you don't have it. And if you had it, you wouldn't be willing to give it. But I'll take a free Fiji water because Fiji's the most expensive and it's my favorite and I know you have it. Okay. Yeah. From her expression, I knew she didn't have a clue as to my identity. And if my record label didn't know who I was in trouble. Now, see, I didn't think that. I just went, well, there's probably 3,000 clients here. Why the fuck would they know who I am? I didn't really care, I guess. As long as the agent gets the gigs, we're good. Clive never even came out to say, never did come out and say hello. He was either gone or wisely hiding behind his executive doors. Can you imagine you're Clive? You get a call, Tanya Tucker's in the lobby and she seems to be drunk with her friends. Do you want to see her right now? We cooled our heels in the reception area for 10 or 15 minutes and then left. What? That was the kind of dumb stunt you pull when you party all night. On the way back to the limo, Patrick Carr said, what's wrong with these people? Even if they don't know who their own recording artists, haven't they seen you in the tabloids? Don't they buy groceries? Exactly. Glenn Campbell knocked your goddamn teeth out, woman. Was all over the place. You'd think they'd be interested in that little tidbit. Moving from Lennington into the 4-bedroom house in Los Angeles was another dumb stunt because it gave me a place to invite people over and live with me. What? Look, I let a million comics stay at my house when I wasn't in Los Angeles because I thought it was nice and they would do it for me. I even had a little comic sheet about here's the Wi-Fi, blah, blah. But live? Nay, nay, as John Panette would say. Nay, nay, you stay here too long. You scare my wife. That's John Panette. I've always been bad about dragging home strays. People are not puppies. That's a little something we could learn. People are not puppies. And it got to a crisis point in that house. One guy turned out to be a drug dealer. I didn't know he was a dealer when I said he could stay in one of my guest rooms. I thought he was just one more Hollywood rich kid on the outs with his parents. Then one day I needed something and I thought I'd store it in the closet in his room and I discovered a huge stash of cocaine. There wasn't any question about it then. I knew he was dealing and probably using my telephone to do it. So I helped myself to a little bit of his dope and kicked him out. Luckily, he went peacefully. I should at least have been charging rent to him and all the other people who came and went through my doors because I was running out of money fast supporting a bunch of losers. I don't know why I did it, but my folks think they do. They tell me this story about me, even though I don't remember it, and I'll take their word for it. They say I was in the 2nd or 3rd grade and I started coming home famished and raiding the icebox the second I hit the door. Finally, my dad asked my mother what in the world was going on. Has she been taking a lunch, Juanita? Mama told him I wanted to buy lunch at school for the past several weeks. Well, then they aren't giving her enough food, he said, ready to call the school and complain. Finally, they got the story out of me. I'd wanted to make a new friend at school, so I'd been giving my lunch money to the girl. Why, Daddy asked. So she'll like me, I explained. My parents say I still do that. Give people things to make them like me. I prefer to think I do it because it makes them happy. But I'll be the first to admit that I've always wanted to please people. Show me an entertainer who doesn't. Well, okay. I know a lot of entertainers and comedians. Don't know hardly any singer people or actor people. Not hardly any. My friend Amy Aquino, she's on a show called Bosch. Do you watch that? She's the head lieutenant. It's on Amazon. And I really only know Amy because I know her husband Drew, who's a friend of Lou's, who's a financial advisor. And that's how I met So I don't want to hang out with those people. But here's the thing about comedians. We will give things people, but this, you just live in the bedroom? Nay. I don't know people doing that. My parents had given up their house in Los Angeles by then. Dad had traded Tuckahoe for a bigger ranch, which they named Double T. Oh, no pressure now on Tanya. They kept calling me and asking me to come home, but I wouldn't even discuss it. The beginning of the end came when LaCosta flew in to stay with me for a few days. When she saw the collection of weirdos and misfits who were living at my house, she was afraid to sleep in the guest room, which had no lock. She made a pallet on the floor of the walk-in closet and curled up on it, hoping if some drugged-up man came in my room, he wouldn't find her. Came in the room, he wouldn't find her. I never took any drugs in front of Costa, but she knew I was doing them. After several days of agonizing about my living situation, LaCosta phoned Dad and told him about the people she'd seen and her suspicions about me. She was scared that if I stayed out there, I was going to wind up dead. As it happened, I wound up nearly broke. I had a good friend, Diana Venegas, a clothing designer at a little shop in Los Angeles. A girl had been working at her shop, had cancer, and she'd been hospitalized for months. Diana wasn't the only person the girl had to turn to as the hospital bills mounted up. Oh, she was the only person. Diana had the shop, but although she tried, she wasn't making enough profit to pay the girl's bills. One month I received a check from an episode I did on Fantasy Island. Well, now I watched Fantasy Island. Zipline, boss, zipline. I do not remember seeing Tanya Tucker. But I was probably only 10, and I probably wouldn't have known that was Tanya Tucker. I remember, what's his name? Ricardo Montalban? That guy, that good-looking man in the white suit. She got a check from Fantasy Island, and Diana told me she didn't know if the hospital would keep her friend any longer unless she paid some more on the bill. I endorsed the check over to her. I was behind on my rent. I had all sorts of unpaid bills, and I desperately needed that $7,500. It was like I was drowning and threw away the life preserver. I don't know what I was thinking, except that Diana's friend needed help, which at the moment I could provide. And maybe I could book some quick gigs to bail myself out. Well, now, see, that's nice. But if that was just an individual event in Tanya's life, you would say, well, that's nice, But all in all, probably not the best decision in the middle of all that. But that's just my 2 cents worth. Well, termites, in the spirit of Tanya, we'll have a little tequila. Get your summer sheets out. Probably going to be sitting here till winter, so then we'll change the bedding later. But for now, you can stay with your summer sheets and your nice cool pillow, little summer comforter in case you freeze your ass off. You're going to tuck yourself in. As bad as things can be out there, you're going to tell yourself you're a good termite, you're a deserving termite, but most importantly, you're a worthy termite. That's it. Night, night for now, termites.